White to blue belts. It's a difficult question, I think, because it all depends on what the goal is of the person. You know what I mean? There's two different camps, I guess. The sports side and the self-defense side. So it all depends on what the goal is of the person that starts training jiu-jitsu. Obviously, we all start jiu-jitsu for what I think and I believe is for self-defense. We want to learn a martial art, right? And having grown up, I guess, raised in kind of on both sides. When I was a white belt, started under Kai Garcia, and the philosophy was smash, pass, submit. That was the game. You grind as hard as you can. You pass that guard, you mount them, you smash them, and you submit them. That was the game. Unfortunately, that doesn't work against very big people. So size does matter. But I was raised in that philosophy from white to purple belt. And then did some research, was looking at some videos. People are giving this school a bunch of flack on they're selling blue belts online, and at the time I was looking for some kind of self-defense because we weren't trained that way. It was more the sportive aspect, right? So started looking for avenues, saw one of Henner's videos, and people are giving him flack about him selling blue belts online. And being, I guess the kind of person I am is I want to find out for myself. You know what I mean? I'm not going to just take everybody's word for it. I'm going to jump in, find out for myself, see what it's all about. So that's what I did. Bought the course online and drilled it at home with a couple guys and learned a whole different philosophy as a white belt, which was don't get beat up. And I never got that growing up on the sports side. It was always, grapple. Never, what if this big dude's mounted on you on the parking lot at 7-Eleven and he's trying to beat the crap out of you? You know what I mean? Never had that. So me being the person I am, I'm like, man, I need to figure this out. So went through the whole Gracie Combatives program, loved it, and got my blue belt online through Gracie University. And I would say that's probably the best decision I've ever made in my jiu-jitsu career. So discovering that avenue, meeting Henner folks and all those guys and Heat-On, kind of opened my mind up to a whole different philosophy of protecting yourself first. And once that's good, once you got a good handle on the self-defense aspect, then you jump into the sports side and the tree just grows. You know what I mean? But the trunk is self-defense. And the whole thing, growing up as a white belt to blue belt, it could take 1, 2, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, depending on how consistent you are, right? So the problem that is with that whole white to blue is life happens. You know what I mean? And if you're training month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get a new job, you move to a different town, you're a kid, you have a family, your family grows, you know what I mean? You get a baby, life happens, 4 months down the road, you gotta stop training. And you have no experience, but you have 4 months of jiu-jitsu. That 4 months of jiu-jitsu, say you can't train for 5, 6 years more until you re-enter, right? That 4 months is all you have, that's all the jiu-jitsu that's in you, right? And if it's deep half guard, inverted triangle, berimbolo, and you get into an altercation at the parking lot in 7-Eleven, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do what you were trained to do. You're gonna try go under the leg. Never was taught to block a punch, right? The philosophy under Gracie University is self-defense, 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 self-defense. Month 4 comes, you gotta stop training. You had 4 months of self-defense training, right? Dude tries to punk you out in the parking lot of 7-Eleven, you know exactly what to do. Keep your distance, manage the distance. If they try to attack you, close the distance, take them down, mount them, control them, make them tired, and finish. You have a plan, right? And 4 months of training will get you that plan. You know what I mean? And then let's say you 2 years later, you jump back in. And you move to where there's only sport jiu-jitsu allowed or available, right? Then you, at least you have a foundation of self-defense. I would say the problem nowadays, a lot of people don't have that foundation. They don't have that foundation of self-defense. And I think in the future is going to come around to where people think they're training jiu-jitsu, and they get into a fight, and if they get beat up, it's nobody's fault but the instructors. You know what I mean? And that's what we tell our students here all the time. Like, if you get beat up, hopefully it never happens. You get into a fight and you get beat up, it's my fault. Not the student's fault, it's the instructor's fault. Because he thought he was learning jiu-jitsu, a martial art. What is a martial art? Self-defense. You know what I mean? But we tell our students all the time, like, hopefully it never happens, but if you get into a fight, you should be able to protect yourself, not get beat up, even if we're bigger than you are. Not get beat up, survive the fight, and hopefully the fight gets broken apart. You were so close and so sticky, and you never got hit with 100% punch because you were trained that way. You know what I mean? And then, you graduate, you get your combative's belt, you get your blue belt. That whole time from white to blue, it was pretty much 100% self-defense. You know what I mean? And what do you want to give your kids? Yeah, you think about it from that perspective. Your students are basically your kids, you know what I mean? And how do you want your kids to, you want to send them out in the world with what skill? You know what I mean? What do you send your kids out? You want them to win the gold medal, but get beat up from the bully at school because they don't know how to block a punch? Or know how to block a punch, don't even compete, but they're confident in themselves, right? And confident people are more successful than people that, I would say, as they grow up, then not. I don't know. That's what I think. White to blue, my philosophy now, self-defense first. Others might disagree, but that's the great thing, right? Everybody has their own philosophies, their own ideas. I learned some new philosophies along the way, and I believe 100% that self-defense first is the way to go.